Leonardo and Haley were wed for a mere 3 years, yet it felt as though they had experienced a lifetime together. Their matrimonial bliss brought them immense joy, leading them to believe that the tales of everyday life overshadowing romance and marriage were mere falsehoods. Haley would jest, vowing that she would never tire of Leonardo. Perhaps the sentiment was reciprocal. Unbeknownst to Leonardo, Haley had been previously married. The reason for their separation remained a mystery, as Haley neither divulged, nor did Leonardo press for an explanation. He was uninterested, for it dwelled in the past, and he harbored no desire to glance over his shoulder. To him, every aspect of his life appeared faultless. A rewarding and steady occupation, an adoring and captivating wife, a residence to call their own, and a plethora of other luxuries. Furthermore, he himself was youth personified, poised to seize the world with unyielding determination. But one fateful day, the idyllic image suddenly shattered into pieces. Haley and her spouse were enjoying a getaway at their friend Natalia's birthday gathering. Natalia had rented a charming abode, attracting a multitude of her close acquaintances to celebrate her special day. As the festivities carried on, libations flowed, leading to the guests dispersing in various directions as the night came to a close. While his wife had already succumbed to sleep, Leonardo found himself unable to embrace slumber. Seeking solace, he stepped out onto the veranda to indulge in a smoke, finding himself in the company of the birthday girl herself. Initially, their conversation traversed through nonsensical topics until, out of the blue, Natalia posed a question that jolted him to his core. "How do you endure it?" she inquired. Baffled, Leonardo sought clarification. Asking, "Endure what?" "Haley. She's unfaithful to you, yet you remain content," the woman nonchalantly divulged. A shiver of cold dread coursed through Leonardo's veins, sending goosebumps cascading down his spine. Perhaps he misheard or misconstrued her words amidst the intoxication. "Are you joking?" he implored, desperately hoping for an alternative meaning to surface. Her laughter echoed, as she lightly tapped him on the shoulder. "Oh, Natalia, you've had far too many drinks. Off to bed with you," he dismissed, extinguishing his cigarette before retreating to his room. Alas, sleep evaded him that long, restless night. After Leonardo uncovered these revelations, he felt utterly lost. His mind teemed with countless thoughts, disturbing his usual peace. He craved a conversation with someone, yet the notion of confessing his wife's infidelity to his pals seemed unbearable. Unexpectedly, the thought of Haley's former husband struck him. Only now did Leonardo realize he was clueless about the cause of their split. It wasn't due to a lack of inquiry on his part, but rather because his wife had avoided the topic. Early in their relationship, he'd posed the question a few times, eventually sensing that delving into the past wasn't what she wanted. In retrospect, he regretted letting it go. He located Adam on social media, messaged him, and proposed a meeting, fully aware that Adam had every right to decline. Surprisingly, Adam agreed, and they scheduled a time and place. Throughout the following week, Leonardo masked his awareness of Haley's extramarital escapades. Their interaction appeared unchanged on the surface, but internally, he knew he couldn't continue this pretense indefinitely. Concealing the truth forever was impossible. When the day of the rendezvous with Adam arrived, Leonardo reached the cafe they had chosen first. Anxiously, he contemplated having a drink to steady his nerves, but he had to return to work post-lunch. At last, Haley's ex-husband materialized. Leonardo spotted him instantly, a commanding presence with silver hair and a well-tailored suit. Adam held a prominent position in a company and looked the part. "Good afternoon," the newcomer greeted, extending a hand. Leonardo reciprocated the handshake, applying just the right amount of pressure. When you're responsible for a large group and dealing with important matters, there's no time for beating around the bush. So as soon as the men were served glasses of a delicious smoky drink, Adam wasted no time and asked about the purpose of their meeting. Leonardo took a deep breath, his hesitation evident, unable to gather the courage to admit, to others, and even to himself, that his wife had been unfaithful. "Why did you and Haley?" he blurted out. Adam's raised eyebrow showed his surprise. "I thought she had told you," he replied. Leonardo shook his head in disbelief. "But what about?" His words got caught in his throat as he hesitated, then continued. "She turned out to have other lovers besides me. And apparently, you too." He paused for a moment before adding this last piece of painful information. Leonardo was taken aback. Had Haley really betrayed her first husband and kept it hush-hush? Most guys would think twice before getting involved with an unfaithful woman. Before he could mull it over, he interrupted. "What do you mean, guys?" "Exactly what it sounds like," came the reply. "Picture this. She's got a steady fling with one reliable guy, and that's not doing it for her. Haley craves excitement, the thrill of new emotions, sleep with someone more than once. Nah, that's too dull for her." Leonardo was lost in thought for a moment. What did she want a hubby for anyway? A husband is all about constancy, intimacy with the same person year after year. But Adam had an answer ready for that too. He spelled out that marriage for Haley is a safe refuge, a place to return anytime she wants, but also a launching pad to escape when she gets bored. The conversational partner suggested not trying to untangle the rationale of a cheating woman. It would only lead to dead ends. As dinner drew to a close, it was time to wrap up their meeting. They exchanged farewells, with Haley's ex giving Leonardo a pitying pat on the shoulder. That day, Leonardo was formulating a plan to expose his wife. He confided in an old school buddy about his predicament. For a modest sum, this friend agreed to woo Haley, meet up with her, and then persuade her to go to a hotel where Leonardo would be waiting. The friend would keep Leonardo updated on his progress. At times, there was so much empathy in his buddy's voice that Leonardo felt pitiful. Yet he was fueled by the image of the look on his wife's face when she walked in and saw him standing there. He fantasized about her immediately dropping to her knees, sobbing and pleading for forgiveness. But deep down, he knew that wasn't Haley's style. The fateful day arrived. Leonardo, plagued by anxiety, found it nearly impossible to carry out his professional responsibilities. Desperate for a respite, he requested an early departure from work and sought solace in the nearby inn, where he ventured into the bar with the intention of indulging in a drink or two of greater potency. However, the grip of tension rendered the alcohol ineffectual, allowing his thoughts to spiral uncontrollably. Eventually, the moment came when he retired to his apartment and waited for the arrival. It so happened that the receptionist at the hotel turned out to be a relative of his friend. At first, she doubted Leonardo's offer, but relented when he assured her that he would willingly take responsibility for any inconvenience caused. Minutes seemed to crawl by endlessly as he waited in anticipation. Doubts began to cloud his mind, making him question if his patience would even be rewarded. The sudden notification from his assistant that Haley and he were en route to the hotel sent a shiver of cold dread up Leonardo's spine. An overwhelming need for a drink took over, prompting him to grab 2 tiny vodka bottles from the minibar and toss them back quickly. Outside, a murmur of voices and footsteps approached. He surreptitiously took a seat in a corner hidden from view. He overheard the escorting man kindly instructing the guest to make herself comfortable while he confirmed some details at the front desk. The door banged shut, followed by muted footsteps and a gentle humming by a female voice. The figure of her husband sitting inconspicuously startled Haley. Her initial shock gave way to momentary panic as she suspected a setup for a ménage à trois. However, recognition dawned, and her heart skipped recognizing him as her own spouse. She strove to maintain composure, not letting on her inner turmoil. "You scared me," she voiced with forced calmness. "I suppose I did," came his cutting response, draped in sarcasm. Her inquiry into his presence seemed redundant, almost rhetorical. Maintaining a poker face was essential. Leonardo's retort came sharply that he was merely waiting for a woman betraying her husband. His heart pounded furiously, and sitting still while facing his wife became an unbearable task. His hands balled into fists, his nails embedding crescent indents into his palms. Haley didn't advance towards him or offer contritions. Instead, she remained poised against the table, her expression devoid of any remorse. When queried about the extent of her deceptions, she nonchalantly confessed ignorance to their duration, suggesting they had stretched indefinitely. Leonardo's jaw clenched in fury. Holding himself back from storming at her was a gargantuan task. The exchange was terse, and soon after, he exited, leaving behind a heavy silence. Throughout the divorce process, they waged a lengthy legal battle. Haley really wanted to take most of their possessions for herself. However, Leonardo spared no expense in bringing in top-notch lawyers to prevent her from achieving this goal. After leaving the courtroom, the ex-wife hurled a barrage of insults at Leonardo. Nevertheless, he remained calm and inwardly enjoyed her futile attempts to provoke him. Haley looked pathetic, like a small, vicious dog barking unsuccessfully at an indomitable opponent. Subsequently, Leonardo did not hesitate to share with his friends the details of how his ex-wife betrayed him. Realizing the power of word of mouth, he sought to protect others from similar traps.